Listen, there's a version of you that's been holding you back, a version that hesitates, a version that doubts, a version that settles for the bare minimum because it's afraid of failing, afraid of trying, afraid of becoming something greater. You know exactly who I'm talking about, that weak version of you, the one that hits the snooze button, the one that breaks promises to yourself, the one that waits for motivation instead of building discipline, the one that hides behind excuses and says maybe tomorrow. You've carried that version of you for far too long, and you know it. Every time you look in the mirror, you feel that pull between who you are and who you could be, between the life you're living and the life you should be living. But here's the truth. You can't step into your future while holding hands with your past. You can't rise while carrying dead weight. You can't transform while protecting the very thing that destroys you. At some point, you have to make a brutal decision. Kill that weak version of yourself, not with anger, not with hate, but with action, with consistency, with the promise that you will not waste your own potential. Because every day you wake up, you're fighting two battles: the battle against the world and the battle against yourself. And the battle against yourself is the only one that matters. The weak version of you wants comfort. The strong version of you wants growth. The weak version of you wants excuses. The strong version of you wants results. The weak version of you wants validation. The strong version of you wants progress. You have lived long enough listening to the weaker voice. You've let it dictate your choices, your habits, your future. But today, right now, is your turning point. This is the moment you stop negotiating with your weakness. This is the moment you stop feeding the fear. This is the moment you bury the doubts that whisper you can't. You don't owe that old version of you anything, but your future self, the one screaming for a chance at greatness. You owe that version everything. Kill your weakness by choosing discipline over comfort. Kill your excuses by taking action even when you're tired. Kill your fears by walking straight into the things that intimidate you. Kill your old habits by building new ones that demand respect, because the strongest version of you is not created in one moment. It's forged every day in the quiet hours when nobody is watching, in the decisions you make when no one will ever know, in the sacrifices you choose even when they hurt. You have greatness inside you, but greatness doesn't come to the weak. It comes to the relentless, the focused, the disciplined, the version of you that refuses to quit. So stand up, breathe, look your weakness in the eye, and end it, once and for all. Your future self is waiting. Go become them. Identify the weaker version of yourself that holds you back, the version of you that hesitates when it's time to move forward, the version that whispers doubt into your mind whenever you're about to take a step towards something better, the version that is comfortable with staying the same, even when the same is slowly destroying your potential. You know that version well. It's the one that makes excuses instead of progress, the one that convinces you to wait for the right moment, even though you know the right moment never arrives on its own. It's the part of you that fears failure so deeply that it never allows you to take the risk that could change everything. This weaker version of you doesn't care about your dreams. It only cares about your comfort. It wants you to stay safe, stay hidden, stay small, because staying small means staying away from challenge, and challenge is the one thing it cannot survive. But you can feel the weight of it every day. In the decisions you avoid, in the opportunities you turn away from, in the habits you keep repeating, even when you know they're pulling you further from the life you want. This weaker self is subtle. It shows up as procrastination. It shows up as fear disguised as logic. It shows up as the same thoughts that circle your mind, convincing you that you're not ready, not capable, not enough. But deep inside, you know the truth. You know this version of you is not the real you. It's the version built from past failures, old pain, and stories you've carried for too long. Stories that no longer serve who you want to become. To identify this weaker version, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to look at the patterns you keep repeating. You have to look at the promises you keep breaking. You have to face the fear you've been avoiding, because only when you recognize it can you rise above it. This is the moment you bring that weaker self into the light. This is the moment you say its name. This is the moment you acknowledge that it exists, not to shame yourself, but to free yourself. Because the first step toward becoming stronger is seeing exactly what has been holding you back. Recognize the habits, excuses, and fears that feed your weakness. Because weakness doesn't appear out of nowhere. It grows from the small choices you repeat every day. It grows from the patterns you let slide because they feel comfortable. It grows from the decisions that feel harmless in the moment, but slowly steal your power over time. Look closely at your habits, the habits that drain your energy, the habits that distract you from your goals, the habits that give you an escape instead of giving you progress. These habits may feel familiar, they may feel safe, but they are quietly shaping the person you become. You know the habits that keep you stuck, the late nights scrolling, the mornings you promise yourself you'll start fresh but fall into the same routine again, the moments you choose what's easy instead of what's right. These are not just habits, they are fuel for your weaker self. And then come the excuses that sound reasonable, logical, even protective. But excuses are lies told gently, wrapped in comfort so you don't fight them. Excuses tell you that you don't have time. Excuses say you're not ready. Excuses convince you that someone like you can't do something that great. But excuses are nothing more than prison walls you build yourself. Walls made of fear, walls made of doubt, walls that block the path you were meant to walk. And behind every habit, behind every excuse, there is fear. Fear that you might fail, fear that you might succeed and no longer have an excuse to play small. Fear of judgment, fear of stepping into a version of yourself you've never met before. Fear is powerful because it speaks in your own voice. It sounds like your own thoughts. It makes you believe that avoiding discomfort is the right decision. But every time you obey that fear, you feed the weaker part of yourself. To recognize the habits, excuses, and fears that feed your weakness, you must pay attention to the moments you avoid. Pay attention to the choices you delay. Pay attention to the feelings that rise when you're about to do something meaningful. These signals are not random. They are showing you exactly where your weakness gets its strength. And once you can see them clearly, once you can name them, once you can admit how they hold you back, you take away their power. Understand that change requires leaving old versions of yourself behind. Because you cannot step into a new life while clinging to the behaviors, thoughts, and beliefs that built the old one. You cannot transform while staying loyal to the version of you that was comfortable, afraid, or uncertain. Change demands a sacrifice, and often the sacrifice is you, or at least the version of you that no longer serves who you want to become. There are parts of yourself you've outgrown, even if they still feel familiar. There are patterns you've repeated for years, even though deep down you know they are holding you back. There are stories you've told yourself about who you are and what you're capable of, stories that were never true but became comfortable to believe. These old versions of you were born from experience, from pain, from fear, from survival. They helped you at one time, they protected you, but now they restrict you. They keep you walking in circles instead of moving forward. They keep you living in the past instead of creating the future. Change begins when you recognize that not every part of you is meant to move forward with you. Some parts were only meant to teach you, not accompany you. Some versions of you were necessary for a chapter that has now ended, and holding on to them only slows your growth. You must be willing to let go. Let go of the doubts that tell you you're not enough. Let go of the mindset that keeps you small. Let go of the identity that was shaped by old environments, old failures, and old expectations. Let go of the comfort that keeps you from stepping into something greater. Leaving old versions of yourself behind doesn't mean forgetting who you were. It means choosing who you want to be. It means acknowledging that you have the power to rewrite your story. It means understanding that growth is uncomfortable because it requires transformation. And transformation is impossible without release. You cannot become stronger while carrying the weight of who you used to be. You cannot reach a higher level of yourself while staying attached to the lower one. You cannot evolve while resisting the very change you are meant to embrace. Transformation begins the moment you stop trying to fit your future into the shape of your past, because the new you cannot exist until the old you steps aside. Success demands discipline, not motivation, because motivation is temporary. It comes and goes like waves, rising when life feels exciting and disappearing the moment things get difficult. You cannot depend on motivation to build the life you want. You cannot expect motivation to carry you through the hard days, the slow days, the days when nothing feels inspiring. Motivation may start the journey, but it will never finish it for you. Discipline, however, is different. Discipline is steady. Discipline is the quiet force that shows up even when you don't feel like it. Discipline doesn't care about your mood, your excuses, or your comfort. It only cares about your commitment to becoming better. Everyone feels motivated in the beginning, when the idea is new, when the vision is exciting, when the goal feels close. But success is not built in the beginning. Success is built in the long stretch, the part where motivation fades, where progress slows, where the work feels repetitive and demanding. It's in those moments that discipline matters most. Discipline is waking up when your mind tells you to rest. Discipline is choosing action when your emotions tell you to quit. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, not what you feel like doing. Motivation wants comfort. Discipline creates results. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is intentional. Motivation pushes you forward for a moment. Discipline carries you forward for a lifetime. The people who achieve great things are not the ones who feel motivated every day. They are the ones who act even on the days when everything inside them resists. They are the ones who understand that consistency beats excitement. They are the ones who choose responsibility over desire, purpose over pleasure, and long-term growth over short-term comfort. Discipline is a decision you make every single day, a decision to honor your goals, a decision to respect your future self, a decision to show up for the life you want, even when you're tired, even when you're frustrated, even when progress feels invisible. Success demands discipline because discipline builds habits, and habits build character, and your character determines your destiny. Motivation might spark the fire, but discipline keeps it burning. Motivation may open the door, but discipline walks you through it. If you want to rise, if you want to grow, if you want to transform, you must choose discipline even when motivation disappears. Growth only happens when you choose discomfort over comfort. Because comfort is easy, comfort feels safe, comfort keeps everything familiar, predictable, and controlled. But comfort also keeps you stuck. It keeps you repeating the same habits, the same routines, the same patterns that prevent you from stepping into who you could become. Comfort is the enemy of progress. It whispers that you've done enough, even when you know you haven't. It convinces you to stay where you are, even when your heart is pulling you somewhere greater. Comfort builds walls around your potential and calls them protection. But discomfort is where transformation is born. Discomfort is the place where you challenge yourself, where you push your limits, where you discover strengths you didn't know you had. Discomfort forces you to grow because it demands something new from you. Every achievement, every breakthrough, every moment you look back on with pride came from a moment of discomfort. It came from stepping into the unknown. It came from facing the things that scared you. It came from doing what felt difficult instead of what felt easy. Growth doesn't happen when you stay where you're comfortable. Growth happens when you stretch beyond what you know, when you take risks, when you push past the fear of failure, when you allow yourself to be a beginner again, when you choose progress over pride. Discomfort is not punishment, it is preparation. It molds you, sharpens you, shapes you into someone capable of handling the life you're trying to build. It strips away your weaknesses and reveals your strength. Every time you choose discomfort, you choose evolution. You choose to be better than you were yesterday. You choose to leave behind the limitations that once defined you. You choose to become someone who no longer settles for less than their potential. The truth is simple. If you want to grow, you must step into places that challenge you, places that stretch your mind, test your discipline, and demand your courage. You cannot evolve in the environment that created your limits. You must step into the environment that expands them. Comfort keeps you the same. Discomfort makes you stronger. And real growth only appears when you stop choosing what is easy and start choosing what is necessary. Every day is a battle between your weak self and your strong self. From the moment you open your eyes, the fight begins. Two voices speak inside you. One urges you to rise, to push, to commit. The other pulls you back, telling you to rest, to slow down, to avoid the challenge ahead. This battle is not loud. It happens quietly in the choices you make and the actions you avoid. Your weak self wants the easy path. It wants comfort, distractions, shortcuts, and excuses. It wants you to stay the same because staying the same requires nothing. It fears discomfort, responsibility, and growth. It fears becoming someone new because becoming someone new requires leaving the weaker version behind. The weak self is built from everything that once held you back: fear, doubt, insecurity, and hesitation. But your strong self wants the life you dream of. It wants discipline, consistency, effort, and sacrifice. It knows that comfort never leads to greatness. It understands that progress requires work, courage, and resilience. Your strong self is the voice that whispers, "You can do more," even when you're tired. It is the version of you that refuses to quit, refuses to settle, refuses to stay small. And every day, these two versions of you go to war. The battle shows up in the decisions you make. Will you wake up when the alarm goes off, or will you stay in bed? Will you work on your goals, or will you put them off again? Will you choose the thing that helps you grow, or the thing that keeps you comfortable? Every choice you make strengthens one version and weakens the other. You become the version you choose most often. If you repeatedly choose comfort, your weak self grows stronger, louder, more dominant. It begins to control your habits, your routines, your mindset. But if you choose discipline, growth, and responsibility, if you choose the hard things even when they're uncomfortable, your strong self begins to take control. It becomes the voice that leads your life instead of the voice you ignore. This battle never truly goes away. You don't outgrow it, you out-discipline it. You win by choosing the stronger version of yourself again and again, especially on the days when the weak version feels louder. Because greatness belongs to the people who choose their strong self even when their weak self begs for comfort. Every day is a battle, and every choice is a weapon. The question is, which version of you will you feed today? Your future self depends on the actions you take now. The life you dream about, the strength you admire, the confidence you want, the success you imagine, none of it appears by accident. It is built piece by piece through the choices you make in this moment. The future version of you is silently waiting, hoping that you will make decisions today that open doors instead of closing them, decisions that lift you up instead of holding you back. Every action you take is an investment. Every habit you repeat is a brick placed in the foundation of the life you're building. Every day you choose discipline, you strengthen your future, and every day you choose excuses, you weaken it. There is no in between. There is no pause button on your growth. Even doing nothing shapes your future, just not in the way you want. Your future self is watching you, watching how you respond to challenges, watching how you handle setbacks, watching whether you prioritize your goals or your comfort, watching whether you stay committed or fall back into old patterns. And your future self will either thank you for your choices or suffer because of them. Think about the person you want to be: stronger, more disciplined, more confident, more successful, more fulfilled. That version of you isn't built in the future. It is built right now, in the tiny moments you think don't matter. The moments when you push yourself to do something difficult. The moments when you stay consistent even when motivation disappears. The moments when you choose growth over comfort. Every step you take today creates momentum. Every effort you put in compounds over time. Every sacrifice you make brings you closer to the person you are capable of becoming. Your choices echo into the future, shaping outcomes you can't yet see, building opportunities you haven't discovered, and forming strength you don't yet feel. Your future self is not created by chance. It is created by decision, by commitment, by daily action. If you want a life that is stronger, richer, and more meaningful, you must act in alignment with that future now. You must show up today the way your future self hopes you will, because the actions you take at this very moment are the seeds from which your future will grow. Your future self is waiting. Make choices today that it will be proud of tomorrow. Kill weak habits by replacing them with strong, consistent behaviors, because weak habits don't disappear on their own. They don't fade away just because you want to change. They remain as long as you continue feeding them with repetition, attention, and comfort. Weak habits survive because they are easy. They require no effort, no discipline, no intention. And that is why they become powerful, because they demand nothing from you while taking everything you need for your growth. The truth is simple. You cannot destroy a habit by ignoring it. You only destroy it by replacing it with something stronger, something that aligns with the person you want to become, something that pushes you forward instead of pulling you back. Weak habits are built one small choice at a time. Strong habits are built the exact same way. The difference is direction. Weak habits lead you toward regret. Strong habits lead you toward progress. If you want to kill a weak habit, you must introduce a behavior that counters it. If your weak habit is wasting time, your strong habit becomes scheduling your day with intention. If your weak habit is quitting early, your strong habit becomes finishing every task you start. If your weak habit is seeking comfort, your strong habit becomes choosing challenge even when it feels uncomfortable. Strong habits require consistency, not perfection, not intensity, consistency. The ability to show up again and again, even when it feels small, even when it feels slow, even when you don't see results yet. Because consistency is what rewires your mind, reshapes your routine, and rebuilds your identity. Weak habits lose their power when they are replaced with patterns that demand discipline. Every time you choose the stronger behavior, you starve the weaker one. Every time you take the right action, you reinforce the identity you are trying to build. Every time you stay committed, you weaken the version of yourself that once held you back. This is how transformation happens, one decision at a time, one action at a time, one consistent behavior layered on another, until the new habit becomes part of who you are. You don't need to destroy the old you. You need to outgrow it. You need to replace its patterns with something sharper, stronger, and more aligned with your future. Because the moment you stop feeding your weak habits and start nurturing strong behaviors, you shift your entire life in a new direction. Kill weak habits by choosing the stronger action every single day. Because the person you want to become is built on the habits you choose to strengthen. Greatness is built in private, through daily sacrifices, because the world only sees the results. It sees the success, the transformation, the confidence, the strength. But it never sees the long nights you pushed through when no one was watching. It never sees the early mornings when you forced yourself out of bed before the sun rose. It never sees the countless moments when you wanted to quit but chose to try again. Greatness is born in silence long before the world ever hears your name. Every sacrifice you make behind closed doors shapes the person you are becoming. The time you spend practicing, improving, and learning when everyone else is relaxing. The moments you turn away from comfort so you can build discipline. The quiet choices that feel insignificant in the moment, but create massive change over time. These private sacrifices become the foundation of everything extraordinary. Greatness demands consistency, not dramatic